Hello and welcome to Storyboard. This is Shibani Gharat. Going by the recent controversial campaigns by Nike, Gillette and the very recently released Holi ad by Surf Excel, brands are taking a strong stand on issues they feel strongly for. But is it good for the brand health, or can it have serious repercussions for brands in the long run? And what is the secret sauce for a successful campaign in this volatile environment? Storyboard's Ankita Saxena finds out as she speaks to Susan Credle, CCO FCB Global, on the sidelines of FCB's Global Summit.
Hi Susan, welcome to CNBC-TV18 and welcome to India.
Thank you so much.
Susan, you're here for the FCB Global Summit, where all the global leaders converge to share their ideas, their insights. Tell us, what were the key takeaways from the summit?
Well, it will be interesting because I haven't seen half the talks, which are the peer-to-peer talks, but I think the key thing is, how do we bring back the value of creativity? Everybody talks about how important creativity is, but are we really understanding the value of it on business problems? And I think the other thing that I hope is the takeaway is that we are a company that builds brands over time, but solves business problems and takes advantage of business opportunities in the short term. And I think we fundamentally believe, after 3 or 4 years of sort of testing this idea, that it's absolutely doable. And I think too many times in the industry we think it's one or the other.
Last time Carter came to India, it was I think 2.5 years back, he said that in India there's a tendency for clients to talk about digital, but they're not investing enough in digital. So, you know, things have changed post that. There's been greater smartphone penetration, the data costs have gone down with Jio. Has the client's demand for digital integration gone up post that?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I think digital is a weird word. Because I think everybody says it and they mean something completely different. So what we're seeing, you know, in the States is that money is shifting from what we call traditional to digital. I think we think that means content. That now it's not traditional content, it's digital content. But actually it's the screens that are changing. It's not necessarily, film is still very strong in digital. It was also very strong in traditional media like television. But the screen that we're putting work on is different. And I think understanding how to meet those audiences and where, it's a big media issue, and we need to continue to understand how content is viewed and taken in a digital world. So I think that's one thing, is it the content that needs to change, or is it understanding how people are consuming that content?
So, you know, the content for the small screen has become more important than ever before. Has the demand for content specifically created for a small screen gone up, or, you know, is the marketer just happy with his 30-second commercial, ad TV commercial, and just snipping it and shoving it onto the small screen?
Well, I don't think it's that. I mean, I remember about 15 years ago when we first started looking at small screens, and I actually had someone say, if you're going to shoot for a small screen, you have to cast actors with bigger heads, and you have to shoot in different angles. This is ridiculous. I watch films on my mobile device, I watch sitcoms on my mobile device, you know, and I watch things that look like ads on my mobile device. So I think we've got to, you know, understand that it's just a smaller screen. I do think that we still need to be respectful of people's time. You know, ads are not short because they were called ads. Ads are short because it was the amount of time we felt was right. It was a quid pro quo arrangement. We'll give you this much time of content, and then we'd like a little bit of time to tell you some things that we think you might be interested in, you might enjoy, but we understand you're here for something different. I think there will be some brands that will do long form content, and people will expect that and want that. And I think that there's going to be still a lot of short form film content, because we only have 24 hours in a day. You know, not everybody can have, you know, 10-minute films to represent their product or their business or their brand. So I think this will all be malleable. I don't think there will be a right answer or a wrong answer.
Isn't content specifically created for small screen more important? Isn't there a difference, like between a TV commercial and content that's created specifically for a mobile screen?
Right. Well, I think you can, but I actually do think they fly across all the screens. I mean, I'm terrible. I will be watching TV, I will be on a laptop, and I will be on a mobile device all at the same time. And I'll be looking at different content, and I forget which screen I'm on. So I think...
So you're saying that good content is screen agnostic, is what you mean?
I think a lot of good content is screen agnostic. It's which screen you're choosing to watch it on. The one thing I will say about mobile that fascinates me, and I love it, is that mobile becomes experiential in a way that you can't with a one-way, narrative. So what we're finding in a lot of the work that I'm most excited about, it's that you use the technology that allows you. I mean, because mobile is search, mobile is, you can communicate back with the idea. So it's really, I think there's film that works perfectly well on any screen, but then I think where mobile has an opportunity is, geofencing and location and context, right? Where are you when you receive this message? And mobile makes it so much more interesting.
There's so many independent content creators, popularly known as the social media influencers, who are coming up with their own content specifically for small screens, for brands. Then there are the digital consultancies. Where does a creative agency stand?
I think that what we have in our DNA and what we still, I think the whole business is in danger of losing an understanding of how to do this, is building brands. So you can do tactical, cool things all you want, but if you're just doing them in the moment to get people's attention, to get a like, to get a click, to get a little bit of action, you're going to put a lot of money in, and then you're going to get, over here downtime, and have nothing, and you're starting at ground zero every time. Versus if you actually understand what a brand is and how you build a brand, you can do those one-offs. Actually, they don't become one-offs. They become an extension of the brand, and so you get down to the end of the road, and you're like, we've built something that has equity, and it has value, and it has financial value.
What about, of late, there's been so much of news about mergers, of consolidation, of restructuring. J. Walter Thompson is now Wonderman Thompson. They have merged their digital capabilities with their creative capability. Do you think that in this day and age, a traditional creative agency can exist independently?
Well, I'm not sure what a traditional agency is, because I mean, like, if I showed you some of the work that we've done in the last 3 months, it doesn't look like what I would think a traditional agency would be doing from an asset standpoint. From what we just talked about, fundamentally believing anything we do leans into a brand, absolutely. But we're doing all sorts of interactions using technology, but we're doing it to activate the business and build the brand at the same time. So I think that it's really interesting when you start talking about, do we have a place in the world? And I hear clients asking for it all the time. I think it's important for every agency out there to understand why someone needs them and be clear about it, versus trying to be all things to all people.
The media landscape is fragmented like never before.
That's
when data and analytics is getting very exciting and interesting. Have we lost the good old storytelling somewhere?
I don't know. It's interesting. I think that we have to be careful of saying that a one-way narrative is passé or doesn't work. I love this quote. Somebody a year ago said something about, you can no longer capture your audience and shove messages down their throat. And I was like, I've been in this business a long time. I was like, I never approach my job as, can I just make something and shove it down somebody's throat? Even when we had a captive audience, so to speak, we tried to do captivating things. We believed that if we did something people loved, they would love the brand. So I think that's a really dangerous thing to be talking about. And there are times when I want to interact with a brand, but there are also times I want to sit back and just be told something and feel something.
Susan, this whole thing of brands with purpose is doing really well to build a brand's equity, to build brand preference. But a lot of times, when a brand takes a strong stand, they are at the receiving end of a lot of backlash, or the opinions on these campaigns have been polarized, like the Nike campaign. Then recently there was Gillette, and now there's Surf Excel in India. So now when you sit down with a client, have the conversations around the campaigns changed? Do you sit down one-on-one with a client, and do you think that, okay, you know, this could be provocative, or there is a social media sitting out there as a judge waiting to rip a brand into pieces?
This is going to be a big part of our conference this week, is that the most provocative work, we believe that provocative work gives our clients an unfair advantage in the marketplace. Because if it's provocative, people pay attention, they remember it more, they pass it along, they talk about it. So provocation, and it doesn't mean just being shocking, it just means being interesting, having an opinion. The problem is that when you aim for provocative work, which gives you more creative value, you could end up doing things that are damaging.
Yeah.
So it comes with some risk. So what we're saying is, first of all...
So do you think that brands have become more gutsy, they're willing to take that risk?
I think it goes back and forth.
Okay.
But what we're saying, and what I know my colleagues are telling their clients, is that don't back away and be soft and invisible and quiet, or do work that's mundane and that nobody really cares about. But make sure that you know who you are. And this is why brand purpose, and brand purpose doesn't mean doing good in the world. Brand purpose means knowing who you are. If you know who you are, then you'll know whether you're ready to take on the heat that might come with a provocative message. So Nike with Colin Kaepernick, they knew what they were doing. They knew what, I believe, that they knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And they were ready for it. And they believed, based on who they are, what they stand for in the world, they were on the right side of the conversation for them. You know, for a different company, they might have been on the wrong conversation.
Yes.
And I can think of, I'm not going to name any, but I can think of a few that I'm like, ooh, you're not going to come back from that one. That one's not.
Really? You are not going to name them, right?
No. I did that once before, and I almost lost my job. So I've learned that you just say nice things and point out.
So what is the secret ingredient or a secret sauce for a successful campaign or creative? Or what are the things that a brand should keep in mind, knowing that the consumer today has a voice, the attention span is shorter, and they could just revolt back if they don't like something?
Well, I think strategy is really important, because if you know what you're doing and why you're doing it, even if you miss, you at least started with, you know, I know that what I was swinging at was right. So I think being very strategic is important. I don't think playing it safe is right. I think I don't think that that's the answer. I think it's being smart and knowing who you are. And I think that's why, again, I do things that are risky I'll say things that are risky, but I know I work so hard to understand what I truly believe in. Then when I say something, I'm not too worried, because I know why I believe in it. But if I was just, you know,
just for the sake of it, just for the sake of it.
And just on a whim saying provocative things, that's very dangerous. It's very dangerous. So I think that what I love is that the discipline of marketing is more important than ever, and to really be a good marketer and a student of marketing, and to understand, you know, if you're on the side like we are of building brands and using creativity to drive business, you better be, it's work, you know, and you need to constantly be learning. It's not frivolous.
Thank you so much for joining us, Susan.
I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.